Nico here. Welcome to a reaction video of a video called Trapped at Freddy's, Five Nights at Freddy's fan fiction creepypasta, which is a horror story made by a YouTuber called Mr. Nightmare, which is a YouTuber that I used to watch a lot in the past, and decided that this would be a perfect video to react to keep the October Halloween theme going along. And to add to the creepy factor, I decided to turn on my lamp over to the right to add to a spooky factor instead of having my circle bright light in front of me shining on my face, just to add to the shadow over my side of my face. Anyways, this is a Five Nights at Freddy's related horror story by Mr. Nightmare. We got 27 minutes of this to go through, so let's just get it over with. All right.
It was a regular Saturday night. I wasn't in the best mood as I had to babysit my little 8-year-old cousin Alex that night. My aunt and uncle were heading out of town for the night with my parents, and they needed a babysitter. Of course, my parents just had to volunteer me.
Don't you just hate it when all responsibilities mostly pushed on you? I grew up as the oldest son, and all the responsibility was always pushed down on me to set example for my little brother and little sister. So
my dad offered to pay me $30 to take Alex to Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. I would have rather stayed home and just watched TV, but making $30 to sit at a pizzeria and watch animatronics for an hour at most seems like a good deal.
No, it doesn't. Knowing Five Nights at Freddy's, that is not a good deal. I would have actually rather just pocket the change and sit down on my ass at home. I honestly would not go. At least knowing FNAF. If I was told to do any of this, not knowing FNAF, I probably would have done it.
Before leaving, my dad handed me $50. The extra 20 for whatever the cost was for the food and games. I would obviously pocket the change.
I would too.
My aunt and uncle dropped Alex off as they left with my parents.
Alright.
I greeted Alex and tried talking to him, although I didn't expect much conversation from an 8-year-old.
That makes sense, though.
It was around 8 o'clock when we left.
Alright.
I had never been to this place. I imagined it would be like Chuck E. Cheese.
I like the tone of the background noises in this video. Also, heck no.
I did, however, know that this place had a bad history, and that it would be closed by the end of the year.
Knowing FNAF, that makes
Alex
sense.
seemed excited on the way there. I couldn't relate. I remember having always been afraid of those singing animatronics in these kinds of places when I was younger.
Facts. I always hated the animatronics at Chuck E. Cheese. Like, I remember going to a bunch of Chuck E. Cheeses as a kid. I was terrified of them. My parents would tease me, even hold me or drag me over to the animatronics. I would squirm and run away. I hated the animatronics. I loved the play place. I loved the food. I loved the games. I hated the animatronics.
We got there at around 8:15. The last show of the night started at around 8:30. I remember outside seeing a help wanted sign for a security guard. I wondered why a place like this would even need a security guard, but I shrugged it off. We sat down at a table and I got a pizza for us. It tasted no better than a frozen pizza or what you would get at a Chuck E. Cheese.
A lot of people tend to say that. I just don't understand what people mean by that, honestly. I always liked the pizza, honestly. It's pizza. It's pizza.
I didn't expect much more, though. The atmosphere seemed a little outdated, like something that would fit in the early 90s.
Makes sense.
The place wasn't particularly nice or clean, but it was still very popular, which made me wonder what could have happened to make it have to close by the end of the year. While eating,
he does not want to know that.
Suddenly a loud drum roll, followed by a voice introducing the characters. The kids all cheered as the curtains opened up, revealing the 3 animatronic singers, Freddy, Bonnie, and Chica.
Alright.
I was shocked. These animatronics looked old and a lot less detailed than I was expecting. They looked creepy.
They're animatronics.
As they sang their first song, Alex,
creepy,
along with all the other kids, seemed to be enjoying it. Even most of the parents seemed to be smiling and having a nice time. But I just stared with a blank expression on my face.
I would too.
The animatronics' movements were pretty smooth and impressive, though. I guess they made up for the looks. After they finished their first song, the chicken in the back, Chica, I swear, turned its head and...
No, do not look at me. Oh, I hate that. No, she did not.
Looked straight at me. It wasn't by chance. Its eyes were fixed right on me. I stared back, a little freaked out.
That's the eyes that would creep me out. It's like forcing me to look. I gotta look at it, but God, that's the eyes of nightmares. Its eyes look so real, though.
Maybe they were programmed to make eye contact like this, but for how long? It was staring at me for at least 30 seconds.
This is the point
Both the other
where you need to get
animatronics
out
were
of the
turning their
freaking
heads
room.
and eyes to look at the whole crowd, but not Chica. It wasn't until the next song started that Chica finally started moving its head again.
Oh, thank God.
I felt a bit relieved, considering maybe I was just being a little paranoid, letting my childhood fear of animatronics get the better of me.
I wouldn't allow that to be what I came to a conclusion to. I would have believed
Alex
for a fact that that thing was staring at me.
To be enjoying himself. The song went on for about 3 minutes before ending. I had at this point completely calmed down until it happened again.
No.
As the song ended, Chica turned its head to face me, eyes locked onto mine. But this time, Bonnie turned its head to me as well, making eye contact.
Bonnie's eyes are even creepier! Plus, he's much more closer to the frickin' camera. Oh my... That's making my spine chill.
Fuck, I said. Obviously loud enough for Alex to hear me, as he looked at me with a curious stare. I pointed out to Alex that the two animatronics were looking at me. He didn't even acknowledge what I said. As Freddy spoke to the audience, both Bonnie and Chica's fake eyes were locked onto mine.
The kid's crazy.
My heart started beating twice as fast.
Go to the bathroom. Get out of the room.
Why was nobody turning around to see what the two robots were staring at?
Also, facts. Why isn't anyone acknowledging this? Like, the two animatronic heads are looking at one person. You should acknowledge this. Plus, I would have just gotten out of the freaking room.
Was anybody acknowledging
I don't want those
what was
things
happening?
looking at me.
I got up out of my seat to go refill my soda at the fountains, frightened to look behind me at the stage.
Good.
I refilled my cup and stalled by slowly putting on a new lid and straw. I was just waiting for the next song to start, or some kind of intermission. I just couldn't turn around to look at the stage. Suddenly, I heard Alex call my name. I had to turn around now. It's okay, I thought. There was no way the animatronics were still looking at me after leaving my seat. I turned around to look at Alex, but I saw at the corner of my eye the two heads staring at me.
I thought so.
I dropped my cup of soda on the floor out of
shock.
There's
more of that creepypasta music.
An employee came over and asked me if I was alright. I asked him why the hell the two animatronics were staring at me. Just as I was saying this, I heard Freddy on stage say it was time for intermission. I turned my head to look at the stage, and the curtains were already closing.
Good.
The employee explained to me that the animatronics were designed to make eye contact with people before he walked off.
Bull crap! Bull crap! Look at one person is programmed into their system. Bull crap!
I could tell he hadn't taken me seriously.
Well, no duh.
At least the curtains were closed and I couldn't see them anymore. But still, I just couldn't forget how they looked at me. They stared directly at me, but the way they stared at me, it didn't feel happy or friendly.
Of course not.
It felt evil. I asked Alex if he was ready to leave, because I wanted to get the hell out of that place.
I would have just gotten out of there.
He told me he wanted to see the rest of the show and play some arcade games.
Bullcrap, leave the kid.
He asked me for my cell phone, telling me that he had to tell his mom something. I handed him my phone and he walked off to the arcade games.
Don't give him your phone! He's a kid! Plus, you might need that for whatever's gonna happen, because this is a story. I mean, of course, not knowing that, but I would still keep my phone.
As he walked off, I noticed another mini stage away from the main stage.
Or else I wouldn't have let him even walk away with my phone. I would have let him have my phone so he could tell him do it, like have him tell his mother something right then and there, not actually leave. No, I'm keeping my phone on me.
It was called Pirate's Cove.
Oh.
The stage had the curtain closed and a tiny sign out front that read out of order.
Yeah.
I asked an employee what it was and why it was closed. He told me that the animatronic that lives on the stage, named Foxy, had a technical malfunction in 1987, causing it to bite out a child's frontal lobe.
Oh, the bite of 87.
News, I realized why this place had a troubled history, and why it was closing.
Yeah.
It shocked me that if such a horrific accident like this happened, how this place managed to stay open all this time. I was starting to feel uncomfortable staying in that place. I wanted to leave as soon as possible.
Yeah.
But I knew Alex was having a good time. I saw him playing some arcade games. I sat back down and just waited. I just wanted the show to end as soon as possible.
I would have gotten Alex and got the hell out of there.
About 5 minutes passed until the intermission was over and the curtains were opening back up. A lot of the kids that had gotten up to play games didn't return to the show area.
Makes sense. Also, I'm gonna stop pausing it from here so the video can just play on. Or
I
else
couldn't really blame them. I never found animatronics entertaining when I was younger
Because I
either.
don't think I'm gonna cut this.
Alex didn't come back either. I know I should have probably just gotten away from the stage and played the games with Alex, but part of me was curious. I needed to see what was going on, and if these things would still stare directly at me with their evil plastic eyes.
No!
Freddie and Bonnie
Why?
made
Would
jokes
you want 'em to
and
look at
interacted
you?
with the kids in the audience a bit before starting their third song.
This guy's stupid.
It was interesting though.
He could have gotten
Most
that.
animatronics were attached to the floor,
He could've gotten
only
that.
able to move from the torso up. But these guys, their legs seemed to have free movement, allowing Freddie and his friends to walk across the stage.
Makes
It was
sense with the
incredible
game.
and terrifying. The third song ended, and I was ready for them to look at me.
Okay.
Nothing. The three robots
Wait,
made
nothing?
jokes and interacted with the
Nothing.
kids, none of them even turning their heads in my direction.
Well, good.
I felt a weird mix of feelings, relief and discontentment. Why was I anticipating it?
Yeah.
Why did I want them to stare at me?
Yeah, why would you want them to stare at you for? Like, come on.
The last song went by fast because of all my thoughts. As it ended, the three friends started to say their farewells to the children.
Good.
At this
Thank
point,
God.
I was convinced that they weren't going to stare at me anymore,
Great.
and that maybe the worker was right. Maybe they were set to make eye contact with people. It was
That's why I
almost
say
9
no,
o'clock,
though.
which meant that the place was getting ready to
They were
close.
still looking at him.
Most of the
definitely.
parents and
That's
kids
not what that is.
started to head for the doors. Alex came to me and told me he had to go to the bathroom.
No,
The
get
public
out of there
men's
and
room
use the
had an
restroom
out of
outside
order
or
sign
something.
on it. I asked an employee where he could use the bathroom, and she said that he could use the employee restroom.
No.
The employee pointed Alex to the bathroom. There was an announcement that the place was now closed.
You should have taken them and got the hell out.
I waited for a few more minutes. It seemed that I was the last person there.
Yes.
Even most of the employees had left. I stood there growing impatient until I noticed something at the corner of my eye.
From the beginning, you should have just walked out with the rest of the
Couldn't
evidence.
be.
No, they're
I turned
all
my head to
looking
see
at
that
him.
all three of them were looking at me. The same ominous stare.
That's the point where you got to
It felt
leave.
like my heart sank into my stomach.
Definitely
I
leave.
couldn't even choke out the words to call for an employee. It was time to get the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
I stormed down the hallway quickly, bursting into the employee restroom. I called for Alex. He didn't respond. I looked under the stalls to see if anybody was in them, and I saw Alex's shoes.
Okay.
I immediately felt relieved and stood by the door,
At least he's still
waiting.
safe.
I waited for what felt like another 5 minutes.
I don't
I
like.
didn't want to say anything to make him feel awkward.
Oh,
but
you
I
don't
had
want to make him feel awkward.
I asked if he was almost done in there, because the place was closed. But he didn't respond.
No.
I started to
Some-
become curious because I'd been standing there for a long
Something's
time,
wrong with him.
and he hadn't made a single sound.
He has.
I
You have
walked
to
up
leave.
to the stall and knocked. As I knocked, the stall
No.
door creaked open to reveal nothing but Alex's shoes.
Oh God, that freaking
He wasn't
made my
in there.
spine tingle. Jesus. What the heck is that?
I heard it come from outside the
Oh
bathroom.
no, there's that music.
It was a huge bang. Sounded like some kind of door closing.
The ambiance.
I ran out of the bathroom to find that the main lights had been
terrifying.
turned out,
Terrifying.
with the only source of light being the dimly lit night lights. I made my way back to the lobby, or at least what I would call
So
the
Alex
lobby
is
in this
gone.
place. I screamed for Alex, and I screamed for help, but to no avail.
God.
This
You're
is
trapped in-
insane, I thought.
Yeah.
What kind of place completely shuts down in such a rush like this?
Exactly, man.
It was probably only 10 after 9.
Oh my God.
I ran to the entrance, thinking maybe Alex was waiting outside,
This is making my
only
head
to realize that I was
Jesus.
right. There was a giant metal door blocking the entrance.
No.
I didn't know what to think of
You're
this.
trapped in there.
I didn't
man.
know how to react. I was trapped in this place. Why would a place like this have a giant metal door like
I
that?
would be freaking pissed.
What were they
at
trying
these
to keep
people.
out? We're in.
They know I'm in here.
I had
and
to
they
call my
locked
parents,
me in
or the
anyways.
police, or someone. Alex was missing and I was trapped in there.
Yeah.
I reached into my pocket for my phone. Empty.
No.
I remembered that I had given it to Alex.
Like I said, you
I
should have
tried
never
to calm
given it
myself
to him.
down.
You should
I
have
can't be
kept
the only
that crap.
person in the building, I thought to myself. And there had to be a phone somewhere in the building. I walked down every hallway I could find, looking for a phone, and occasionally shouting for somebody. The only phone I found so far was disconnected.
Great.
If it weren't for the fact that Alex was by himself on a Saturday night, I wouldn't have been in such a panic.
You're worried about him?
What the fuck happened to him? Why were his shoes in the stall?
I mean, that's still.
What
I
if
still want
somebody
to know
had
that.
taken him? I had to call the police, but there was no fucking phone. I walked down another hallway, finding a door I hadn't
This is
checked
just
yet
ridiculous.
that had a staff-only sign. I opened the door, only to discover a room full of animatronic body parts.
Oh God.
The room smelled foul, like something was rotting in there,
Like
and I was standing
blood?
in some kind of thick liquid substance.
That's blood. That's
I
blood.
got out of that room as
Get-
quickly as I entered.
Get out of there.
Seeing those animatronic parts made me think that maybe Alex was sitting in the dining area
No.
waiting.
He's probably dead.
The dining area was right outside the hall I was in, so I thought I might as well check. Navigating the barely lit building was pretty difficult, but also creepy. When I got to the dining area, I called for Alex, but there was no response.
Of course. not.
Suddenly, I noticed something through the corner of my eye. I could see that the curtains on the stage had been opened again.
No.
I could have sworn they'd been shut after the show.
I bet you one of the
I didn't want
animatronics
to
is
turn my
gone.
head, in fear of what I was expecting to see.
And they're
But
looking
before
at
I could give myself
Probably.
more time to think, I
Or
turned
that.
my head to the stage, to see Chica and Freddy on the stage. There was a third one. I knew there was a third one.
No.
The bunny. The bunny was missing.
Bonnie's gone.
Where was the bunny?
You gotta run, man.
I was
You
able
gotta
to make
run.
out in the dark the heads of the two animatronics, facing me.
And the
I
others
ran
are
out of
scary.
there as quickly as I could, back into the dark hallways.
They know something's
I
up.
stopped to catch my breath, but I heard something coming down from the hall. There were footsteps coming my way.
Oh God.
I was saved. Somebody was there.
That's not.
I ran
That's
closer
not
to the
a
source
person.
of the footsteps, yelling for help.
No.
As I got closer,
That's
I
Bonnie.
slowed down, noticing that the footsteps were very heavy.
That's Bonnie,
Unnaturally
man.
heavy
That's
for a
Bonnie.
human being.
You gotta run the other
I
way.
stopped, thinking something wasn't right. The flickering light ahead of me didn't provide enough light to see the source of the footsteps yet.
That's Bonnie.
As the footsteps got closer, I could see the figure. It was the shadow of the bunny standing in the dark light from the hall.
Yep.
I was unable to let out a scream. The robot started walking toward me,
Run backwards.
and
run
at that
back.
instant, I ran to the nearest room, which happened to be a security room.
Oh, good. Good.
I looked for anything to defend myself with. There were no weapons.
Close the
There
door.
was a button on the wall that seemed to be a door control.
Yep. There you go.
The footsteps were getting closer, almost outside the room. I ran to the wall and threw my fist onto the button, causing a giant door to close down to the floor.
Okay, good. You're safe now. You're safe now, man.
The robot banged on the door for a few seconds.
Now you just gotta survive 6 hours, man.
Before the only noise was the buzzing sound of the dim fluorescent light in the room. How is this possible? How could these animatronic performers have the ability to roam freely? Why the hell was that thing following me? These things, are they alive?
They're alive, man.
These
They're
nightmarish
possessed.
thoughts kept pouring
They're
into my
haunted.
mind that I almost didn't even notice the heavy footsteps coming from the opposite direction.
Chica's active
I turned
too.
around, realizing there was another opening to the room, with an identical door switch. I immediately sprang to the door, slamming my hand on the button,
Yep.
not wanting to see what was coming down that hall. I sat in the room, feeling safe for a few moments, until I remembered that Alex was missing. I had to find a way out of there. But there was no way I could step back into those hallways until I knew those things were gone.
Yep.
There were 2 windows in the room, facing either side, with a view into the hallways.
Okay.
I couldn't see anything outside, though. It was pitch black.
There's lights.
I noticed that under the door buttons on both sides, there were 2 buttons that were labeled light.
Yep.
Maybe these lights were for outside the security office. I needed to make sure that the robots weren't outside. I flipped the switch on the left side of the room to reveal the bunny's face staring at me through the glass.
No.
I hit the light switch again to turn it off.
Yep.
I didn't want to see that thing. I didn't want to see that thing looking at me through the glass.
This is
I
giving me
moved across the
chills,
room to the
guys.
other side, pressing the light switch. I almost fell to the floor in fear. It was Chica, the
Nope,
animatronic
turn off
chicken,
the light.
staring at me through the glass.
No.
Her mouth was open disturbingly
Hi,
wide, revealing a second
everybody.
pair of teeth inside of her beak. These teeth were smaller and seemed human-like.
Don't mention
She
that.
banged her hands on the glass, keeping eye contact with me. I shut the light when I couldn't take the sight of the thing anymore. I sat in the chair in the middle of the room,
I
balled
can
up
help
like a
it.
baby. This can't be happening, I kept telling myself.
My God, it's happening.
Both
though,
robots
man.
reminded me of their presence with constant knocking on the glass.
Oh God, that's creepy.
I feared that they might break the glass.
Stop banging.
I didn't know what they were going to do to me if they got me,
Guys, some
but I
creepy
imagined the
banging
worst.
noises.
I couldn't see anything through the glass, but I knew they were still there, watching me. While looking around the room, I found a flashlight in one of the drawers. And on the desk, I noticed a camera system.
Okay.
I turned it on, and a bunch of screens turned on,
Nice. A flashlight and
surveilling
some
probably
cameras.
every room in the building.
That's
I
good.
looked at a screen displaying the show stage. Freddy the Bear was on the stage, staring right into the camera.
God.
I looked at another screen that displayed the Pirate's Cove that I had seen earlier.
Foxy's
There was an
active
animatronic
too.
poking its head out of the curtains. I remembered that the employee told me that it was named Foxy,
Yep.
and why he was in disrepair. He was still turned on?
Yeah, why
Then I
is he
started
turned on
to realize
anyway?
it didn't matter if they were turned on or not. These things were fucking alive.
Actually, yeah, that
evil.
makes sense. They're
I could see the teeth in Foxy, and I knew that I didn't want to be anywhere near him. So I kept my eye on that camera to make sure he didn't move.
Anywhere near him.
I sat watching the camera for what felt like hours, and it probably was. The tapping on the glass had stopped, and the fox was still peeking its head out of its curtain. I had been so preoccupied with staring at the idle animatronic fox that I forgot to check any of the other cameras. I looked at the screen displaying the empty stage where Freddy was standing not too long ago. He was gone.
Everyone's gone.
Suddenly, all of the camera screens filled with static. I was blinded from viewing anything in the building.
That's bullcrap.
I started to panic and looked around the room again for anything to help me.
That's
I found an
bullcrap.
old phone hidden behind a pile of papers. I picked it up to hear a dial tone. It was working. I immediately started to dial for my parents, but I realized it would be a better idea to call the police.
Yep.
I redialed for 911.
Yes.
There was no ringing sound, just silence from the phone. I hung it up to try again,
Okay.
but didn't even get a dial tone this time. The bastards must have interfered with the phone.
Oh my god, there's so much
I got up to take one
bullcrap
last
in
peek
this.
out of the glass to see if the coast
He's
was clear to
legitimately
run.
trapped here.
I turned the light on at the left side to
And the
reveal the
animatronics
shadow
aren't
of the
even
bunny
leaving
standing in the dark
doors?
corner.
My god.
He's blocking that exit. I turned the right side light on as well to reveal the chicken still looking straight at me through the glass.
They're still
I
having
shut
him trapped
both of
in
the
there.
lights off. I was trapped in there.
Yep.
There was no way I would try to outrun them. I didn't know how fast they were.
That stinks, man.
I sat down in the chair knowing my only option was to wait. I tried to rationalize the situation and calm myself down.
Jeez.
Alex is 8. It's not like he's a toddler, I thought. And plus, he has my cell phone. He probably already called his or my parents, and I'm sure they're all on their way here now,
Do
I
you remember
convinced myself.
The thick liquid
I checked
before?
my watch.
The
It
foul
was almost
smell?
12 already. The cameras were still filled with static, and I was unable to do anything at that point.
He has not done
All I
any
could
of
do
that.
was shut my eyes and wait.
He's probably dead.
I shut my eyes, thinking that everything would be fine come morning time.
I mean,
I
it
still
will.
don't know how, but I had
But
actually
still.
fallen asleep from closing my eyes for a while.
I knew I said I wouldn't pause, but oh my god, that's ridiculous. You're trapped here. You're pretty much screwed. You're thinking you're going to be saved because of your dumb little 8-year-old brother that likes animatronics, which you should have just left with him in the first place. And plus, he's probably dead. You remember the freaking thick liquid you were stepping in a foul-smelling room? He's not coming with help. He's probably dead. Plus, how the hell do you fall asleep in this situation? How? How do you fall asleep? I'm gonna go get some snacks, actually. This is actually longer than I was expecting. Okay. I have snacks. I got a drink. Let's continue.
I didn't think falling asleep in this kind of situation was possible. Like, your body would be in fight or flight mode.
Exactly.
Your adrenaline would be rushing, your body just wouldn't let you fall asleep. But somehow I did.
He's so stupid. How do you fall asleep in this situation?
I woke to the sickening sound of familiar banging on the
I don't want to
glass.
hear that again.
It wasn't just a dream. I was still in that godforsaken
You
place.
thought that was a dream?
I checked my watch and saw that it was 4 a.m.
You're almost there.
I had been asleep for 4 hours. I noticed that the light in the room was a lot dimmer, almost to the point where I couldn't even see the papers that were hanging on the wall anymore.
Oh no.
The thumping was coming from the right side. I didn't even turn on the light because I didn't want to see that sickening face of that thing again. Suddenly, the light flickered. I knew the power dying at a time like this would be deadly,
The power
because
is
these
dying.
doors seemed to be powered by the electricity. I made a plan to run as fast as I could, through the left door, if the power went out. It was the only choice I had.
Yep.
The light grew dimmer, and flickered even more. I took one last look at the camera screens, to see that the curtain at Pirate's Cove had been completely opened, and Foxy was nowhere in sight.
No.
Just as I saw this,
Fuck
the room
you,
went
Doc.
dark. The camera screens turned off,
And the power's
power
off.
doors opened.
Oh no.
The power was out. I ran out the left door, turning the flashlight on. The bunny wasn't anywhere in sight, to my luck.
Good.
As I ran down the hall, I slipped in something on the floor.
Okay.
I fell hard on my knee. I felt like I broke it.
Ow!
I moaned in pain, but tried my hardest not to scream. I felt the substance that I slipped in with my fingers. I smelled it. It was blood. I was laying in a big puddle of blood. I immediately assumed it was the blood of Alex and almost let out a cry of pain and sickness. I tried to get on my feet, but the pain in my knee was unbearable. I started to crawl down the hall with blood all over my arms and legs.
Jeez.
I didn't know where to go or how to escape. They would surely catch me now.
Yeah, your legs
My luck seemed to have run out because I heard heavy footsteps coming fast down the hall. I had to act quickly,
That's Foxy.
but I didn't know what to do.
That's Foxy running down the
I
hall.
looked around me and found a door. I didn't care what room it led to. I just had to get out of the hallway.
You did.
The footsteps were getting closer. I shut the flashlight and managed to reach the doorknob, pushing the door open. I crawled into the room and pulled the door shut as quickly and quietly as I could.
Good, you're safe.
I waited in the darkness as the footsteps came closer and closer.
Why?
Until they were right outside the door. And then, it stopped.
Oh, God.
Whatever it was right outside the door. I put my hand over my mouth to muffle my breathing, and leaned against the door to block it in case the thing tried to get in. It was probably about 10 seconds, but it felt like a minute before the sound of pots and pans banging around echoed across the building, and I heard footsteps move away from the door. I felt that it was safe to no longer hold my breath, and to turn the flashlight on.
Hands is chica.
The light revealed that I had been sitting in a supply closet.
Oh,
I looked around for any kind of weapon, and to my luck, I found a crowbar sitting on a ledge.
There you go.
This was seemingly the perfect weapon to bash a robot in the face with. I waited about a minute until I thought the coast was clear, and I slowly opened the door and crawled out of the room. My knee wasn't hurting too bad anymore, but I didn't want to take the chance of putting pressure on it. Crawling was quieter anyway.
Yep.
As I crawled through the pitch-black hallways, banging into walls, I noticed that almost all of the floors in these hallways were sticky. The stickiness caused my skin to make a peeling sound off the floor each time I lifted my hands or legs.
It's a pizza place.
I didn't think too deep into the stickiness, or anything for that matter.
Ugh.
I was too focused on getting out of there and finding Alex.
Me too.
As I crawled down the hall,
Also,
I
stop
noticed
looking for
moonlight
Alex,
shining
he's
in through a
dead.
window in a room up ahead.
Just get out of it.
I hoped the window would be low enough and big enough for me to reach and fit through. I crawled to the doorway, but the sight of two big glowing eyes stopped me.
No.
The eyes were fixed on mine, even in the dark. I turned on the flashlight and shined it at the figure. It was Foxy.
Oh, God.
He looked like a broken, unfinished animatronic with pieces missing altogether. His legs didn't even seem to be finished, as his robotic legs were not covered up by plastic fur,
Yeah,
and his
a
feet were
crowbar,
just two
man.
pieces of metal.
Use it.
He raised his hook hand and started moving quickly towards me.
No, use the crowbar.
I managed to get up on my feet, ignoring the pain on my knee.
Yeah.
I held up the crowbar, ready to swing it like a baseball bat.
Let him
As soon
have
as
it.
the robot got close enough, I
Let him
swung
have
the
it.
crowbar to hit his robotic leg, causing him to fall to the floor.
There you go.
I took this opportunity to smash his robotic head numerous times with the crowbar, causing
Yep.
gears to fly out of its face.
Yep. That's
The
it.
eyes were still glowing, fixed on me, but his legs seemed broken, and that was enough to stop him from getting me.
Good.
I hopped closer to the window. The
Oh,
other robots no doubt heard what just happened, so I
yeah.
hurried.
Get out of there
I reached
now.
the window. Luck was on my side, because the window was reachable and big enough to squeeze through. I swung the crowbar at the window, but it didn't break. I suddenly heard many pairs of footsteps coming
They
from
all
down the
heard
hall.
that. They're all coming for you.
I swung the crowbar again. The window cracked, but didn't break.
No, you gotta break it.
The footsteps were
Break it.
right outside the room now.
Really hit it.
I
Really
swung
hit
the crowbar
glass.
one more time, as hard as I could, finally causing the glass to shatter.
There you go.
I took a painful leap off both legs to reach the window. I pulled myself up and was about to jump out the window until something grabbed my leg. I turned around to see Freddy Fazbear standing behind me, holding onto my good leg, along with Chica and Bonnie standing behind him.
Why do you want to leave?
Asked Freddy.
Did he just say why you want to leave? Because if he says that, then why would he ask that? Why I want to leave? You guys are after me. Probably gonna kill me. I'm out of there.
Without thinking, I pulled my leg up,
Not to mention they were staring at me all night.
causing pain in my knee, and kicked it back with full force into the animatronic's head.
That's gotta hurt.
This caused it to lunge back a bit and loosen its grip on my leg,
But you're
giving
saying-
me just enough time to jump out of the window.
Oh yeah.
I didn't care about the returning pain to my knee. I hopped away from the building as fast as I could, with the only sound I heard being the screaming of the robots to come back.
No.
I screamed Alex's name at the top of my lungs 3 or 4 times before getting in my car and speeding to my house. I called the cops and explained the whole situation.
He's safe.
I then called my parents afterwards. My mother picked up the phone after calling 3 times, asking why I was calling so late. She screamed into the phone, begging me to tell her it was a joke when I told her I lost Alex. When the cops arrived, I showed them a picture of Alex and explained to them about the robots. I told them that the robots must have been somehow programmed to kill any intruders at night. I tried to make it seem as realistic as possible. They looked at each other like I was crazy, like any...
Of course they did. Of course they did. People are retarded. They ain't gonna believe that. They ain't gonna believe that. They're stupid.
anyone would. However, they assured me that they would have the police department look into it.
Yeah. They're gonna
After
find a lot of
investigating,
stuff.
the police found nothing. No blood, no broken glass, no foul smells, no Alex, and all the animatronics were in their proper places.
How do you fix all that and cover it up in one night, though? No. They found the glass and they found all of that. There's no way they did not. That's bullcrap. That actually pisses me off. There's no way they covered it up that fast.
It's been almost a month. Alex was never found.
Oh my god.
My aunts and uncle still cry their eyes out every day. My parents don't even talk to me. But what kills me the most is knowing the evils that are inside of that place. That family-oriented place.
Yeah.
And that even if I told anyone what happened, they would think I'm crazy.
No. Well, that's because they're crazy. People are stupid. When you tell, especially if you tell them stuff like this, like, sure, of course it sounds far-fetched, but if it's coming from someone who believes it happened. At least look into it. Also, this is a creepy-ass image. Like, the eyes have veins.
I can't prove what
This will be burnt into my retinas. Oh my god.
happened to Alex. But I know that whatever happened to him, those fucking robots had everything to do with it.
Of course they did. And of course we're gonna... Oh god. And of course we're gonna end it on a high note with this Torador March music. Because apparently this is a happy ending where nothing good possibly comes out of it other than Freddy Fazbear's is committed to family fun and it's been discovered that nothing happened here in the first place. Is that the end? 2 more seconds? Well, that was Trapped at Freddy's creepypasta fanfiction by Mr. Nightmare. That was actually insanely good. That was a pretty cool, awesome Five Nights at Freddy's horror story. And I like how a lot of it actually kind of like, a lot of it doesn't make sense. I mean, a lot of, like, this would be, everything of this would be believable except for that last part when they found nothing. Because there's no way you could possibly fix that in one night. But everything would make sense otherwise, though. Like, people being ignorant and not taking in this guy's information about these animatronics and what's been happening to him, thinking he's crazy. I swear, people are too ignorant and will not believe anyone that talks like this. Literally, like it's insane. Especially if something like this happens and it's actually true. Like, oh my god, this story captured realism in real life. It also stuck with a lot of the lore of the actual game. Like the animatronics moving, the mention of the Bite of the 87, and then of course the little FNAF-ish portion with the 2 doors closed. He's trapped in and he checks the cameras. This was really good. I'm glad I reacted to this. I'll react to another Five Nights at Freddy's fanfiction if he does have another one, which I'm pretty sure he does. I think I remember seeing a FNAF 2 fanfiction creepypasta made by the same guy right here. But yeah, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss a video. Let me know what you thought about this reaction. And make sure to go subscribe to Mr. Nightmare's channel. I'll leave a link in the description below. This was very good. And actually made my spine tingle a lot, actually. Like, some of the noises and the ambiance creeped me the hell out in this video, and that was great. The ending was also mysteriously spooky, and I love it. Like, amazing. Amazing. Clap it up. Clap it up. Anyways, you guys stay safe. Have a great night. I'll see you guys in the next video. Later, Gators.